All right, the watch list for Tuesday. DHI, a home builder. I want to watch this one. If it gets up near 2250, look at this thing. It's come, straight up to hit this mid-September high. Well, if it gets there, it'll be hitting that mid-September high. You also have the 200-day around there. And these home builders, in my opinion, are due for a little bit of selling. And so I'm going to watch other ones too. But DHI is pretty interesting. I really like it at the 2250 area for a potential short. LEN will be back on watch again. I was watching it in this area, this early July high, right, and also mid-March. So you definitely had a definite resistance line there, and it had come really far pretty quickly to get there. So I'm going to watch these really for the next few days for potential shorts, but I'll certainly be starting tomorrow. QEP also looks like a decent potential short. It certainly had capitulation here, but now it's up into the 8-day moving average, and you can see it had an intraday reversal today to end up after a nice rally in the morning to basically close where it opened. This one might have some further downside. APT, these Ebola plays, you really kind of need some Ebola news for them to work, but they're overdue for a bounce. So I've just chosen APT, and I'll also show you Lake to watch. Again, if we're trading tomorrow and this, trading around $4 or whatever, and all of a sudden you get some Ebola news, this is just one to have on watch. Again, I said this yesterday. I'm not wishing for anybody, any bad news Ebola related, but these stocks should pop if that happens. Same thing with Lake. And Lake pretty much closed where it opened, and so maybe the bulls have a day tomorrow. So that one's worth watching as well. And RCL is also in my notes to watch for a potential reversal. It's up pretty strong for 3 or 4 days now. And a couple other things to show. LUV, it's an airline, and Zozo today, he's at Zozo Trader on Twitter, called this in the chat room today right here at 31.60, literally like 2 or 3 minutes in. And the worst case stop was only 18 cents below. And look at that thing. Ran up through 33 pretty quickly. About $1.50 in our favor on 18 cents risk. Can't say enough about that call. I actually called SCOK early after the gap up when it hit 360, I believe was my call. 361, sorry. And it went to 444. So that's a big percentage mover on a $3 stock. And another example of stuff we do in chat, FINL, and this is a setup that you can use for the rest of your life. I love this play, and I called it today in chat. You can see finish line. If you loosely connect the tops of the candles, you can see how it's starting to get faster to the downside and almost straight down, and you had massive volume there. In and of itself, that's potential capitulation for a reversal. You'll see this blue line here. I put that there for a reason, because this thing, after gapping down, was in a range, and it was nearing the lows of that range, right? So you can see it's in a pretty clearly defined range, and on an intraday basis was getting way ahead of itself. And look at that bounce. I actually called this, my idea was 2-minute candles. So instead of just guessing down here, we can use 2-minute candles to know when to go long, and I just called it over this one 24.23 with a 24.17 stop. So that is 6 cents risk, and that was the low of the day. And we got a really nice move to 24.65. So as far as risk reward goes, that's a great setup. Intraday shape, right? Shape change, volume to the bottom, to nice support is basically, I guess, what you call that, and it worked really well. So irrespective of the watch list that I just gave you, we'll be also scouting for things like that as the day unfolds. I didn't even have finish line on watch, and lo and behold, we get a really nice trade out of it just by watching the market, watching my scanners, and then looking at the charts. And that was just about a perfect setup there. All right, I'll quit babbling. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night.